quick scholars, it's Miss Chalfant here, and I'm here to read chapter 25, Warnings from Red. In a week, the world was white with the first snow. My aunts huddled in the wool room near the fire with their work. I didn't want to be around any of that, so I took a walk to the village. Gnomes waddled around with their tongues out trying to catch snowflakes. That reminded me, painfully, of Red. I scooped up a girl gnome with pigtails and a pudgy nose. This message is for Red in the mountain. Message for Red in the mountain, she squealed. I hadn't gotten a message from Red since I came to live with my aunts. I was a little worried. Was she all right? I wanted to talk to her, but with the gnome wriggling in my arms, I found I didn't know what to say. Dear Red, I'm living with my 3 aunts who are witches. My real name is Rump Ch, and it means I'm trapped in magic forever and no one can help me. Opal's having a baby, and I might have to take it. I just didn't think that message would inspire Red to respond. Mostly, I wanted to send her something so she would send a message back. Dear Red, I'm in yonder now. It's not so cold here, and guess what? I have 3 aunts, and guess what else? I grew. Maybe I'm taller than you now. Also, they call me Robert here, so it's probably better if you do too. Your friend, Robert. The gnome scurried down the road until she was just a speck in all the white. After that, I walked to the village every day, even though it would be at least a week before a gnome came back with a message. It took 16 days. The gnome was so frozen, I had to take him home and thaw him in front of the fire before he could say anything to me. I was delighted at first, but then Red's message wasn't so cheerful. Dear Robert, Lord Greedy Fatty Miller Oswald is withholding more rations because we're finding even less gold. I think the king has found Opal out. Don't worry, I won't say a thing about you-know-what. Obviously, Opal can't make gold out of straws, but the king can't kill her because, you know. And so the king has turned his wrath on the mountain, demanding more gold, but there is no gold, so everyone's really hungry and grumpy. Red. P.S. You might be taller than me, but I can still pound you. So King Barf was punishing the mountain through Lord Oswald. How he must have raged when he discovered Opal couldn't really spend the gold. Maybe she told the king about me to spare herself. Maybe soldiers were already searching for me. No, that couldn't be. It had been too long. Opal and the miller were probably afraid to tell the king that they had deceived him. They must have come up with an explanation for why she couldn't spin the straw into gold anymore, like expecting a baby takes away her magic powers. Yes, I could believe that. But I wasn't too confident Opal would say that. Poor Red, she sounded so miserable. Maybe I could cheer her up with a rhyme. But the gnome who brought Red's message ran away as fast as he could from my message. I guess even gnomes have their limits. I found another village and sent Red a poem. I know a miller, greedy and fat, smells like a troll, looks like a rat. He steals all the gold and he creeps like a cat, but one day the mountain fell down on him, splat. I waited 7 days, then went to the village every day to search for a gnome for Red. 16 days, 17, 18. I told myself it was because of the snow and ice. Maybe the gnomes refused to take any more messages. Such a long distance. 20 days, 25 days, 34 days. It took 34 days to get a reply. And her message wasn't even less cheerful than her last. She didn't say anything about my poem. Dear Robert, the miller has been asking me about you. He asked if I knew you, where you were, or if I'd heard from you. I wanted to punch his nosy nose, but I can't do that. So later I punched Frederick for no good reason. Well, he's Frederick. That's a reason. Don't send a gnome back. I think the miller is starting to sniff with his oversized nose. Your friend, Red. P.S. As always, Granny says to watch your step. The miller was asking about me. I tried to swallow the hard lump that had risen in my throat. He couldn't possibly find me here, could he? I was far away in yonder, tucked in a little wood with 3 witches who were my aunts. I was safe, wasn't I? But what if the miller couldn't find me? I didn't want to believe it was possible. But if he could, I feared what he would do. He would hurt my aunts or use them just as he'd used me. Staying with them this long had been selfish on my part. I was putting them in danger, and they deserved nothing but kindness from me. I should probably leave.